Hello. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. This is Jade Marie of Jade's Jewels. Of course, I'm dropping gems, I'm dropping knowledge, and I am dropping jewels. Okay, today, as you can see from clicking on the description or the title of this video, you can see this is all about self-love. And so I wanted to just take some time just to really empower individuals to be more consistent with their self-love and their self-care. But also what I wanted to do was I just wanted to encourage people maybe who haven't been taking that time with themselves. I wanted to encourage them to say, hey, this is a perfect time for you to get back into your self-care and figure things out. Yes, I have on my little necklace today. I tried to do a little look that kind of went with my necklace. So I hope you guys enjoy this look. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, yes, I'm adjusting my view. This is my last time. But also be sure to comment below and let me know your questions. Let me know what you think about the content. Let me know if this information is helpful for you all. I really believe that, a part of me, even personally, I feel like it was so much information and just things that I wanted to share, and I was keeping this information within myself, but I felt like there was something that I needed to share. And when I was not expressing myself and being creative, I can be completely honest with you all, it was truly affecting my mental health. I was just down because I felt like there was a part of me that was not being activated. So anyway, this is all about self-love. I hope you all enjoy this video. I am going to get this singing bowl because today we are going to start off with a little singing bowl energy, and then we'll just kind of roll into the video naturally and organically. It is right here, so I do not have to go very far. And I'm back. Hi. Yes. And so this is my cute little singing bowl. And what I will do is I will just hit it a few times, just kind of clear our energy, help us to really clear our minds, because I know sometimes we click on YouTube as a way of escape. I know I've done that before, and even though we're trying to escape, sometimes we still have pieces and parts of the day on our mind. And so what I want to do is I want to ring my bell, ring my bell. But anyway, I'm going to strike this singing bowl just to cleanse the energy. Give us a few minutes just to take some deep breaths. We often don't understand how important breath and taking your time to really effectively breathe is. But we can even look to the Bible for individuals who believe in Christianity. We know that God had to breathe his breath into man. So there is something, he had to breathe his breath into man for man to become alive. And so there is power in breath. There is power in us taking time, not just breathing involuntarily, but putting some intentionality around our breath, even whether it's in the morning, whether it's before you take your bath, whether it's before you pray. I am a big advocate of doing some cleansing breaths, taking some deep breaths, pushing out whatever is stressing you and inhaling the good that you need, whatever those attributes it is that you need, inhaling that and mentally seeing that, just so that we can feel better. We've been given so many tools to help us in our journey. There are so many tools along this path, and breath is one. So anyway, without further delay, I'm going to hit the singing bell. We'll do a couple of breaths, and then we're going to get all into this video. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. Relax your jaw. Deep breath in, deep breath out. All right. I don't know about you all, but I already feel better just from taking a few minutes and doing that. And I mean, even my tone has changed. I feel myself. I feel like I'm more relaxed. Of course, I always love to share just these encouraging, the universe has your back cards. I will be sure to try to share this Amazon link below. But I just love these cards because every now and then we need a little bit of encouragement. And so I'm going to give them a quick shuffle. I'll flip a card. We'll see what encouraging word we have for today. And let's see. I love this card. I've read this myself. This says, happiness is my birthright. Yes. Happiness is our birthright, and that is so important to own. And it also, again, it ties directly into this video because oftentimes we don't realize that an integral part of our happiness is the way that we love and affirm ourselves. And so happiness is our birthright. But how do we access that happiness? Do we wait on others to offer actions to create the happiness within ourselves? So does our happiness, is it outwardly motivated, or is our happiness within ourselves? And I feel like that's a part of what that card is saying is happiness is my birthright. So from birth, I've had things within me that will make my lifetime and my life experience happy. Am I accessing that, or am I looking to all these other outwardly not necessarily, well, outwardly motivated, but just outward things outside of ourselves to make me happy and make me feel good about myself? So anyway, let's get right into it. Loving yourself. Loving yourself, we all know loving yourself is so important. We've all heard self-care. We've all hashtag that we're into our self-care and we're doing this and we're doing that. Excuse me. But beyond a post, okay, on Facebook, beyond telling that ex that, well, I'm taking, I love myself, or you're trying to let everyone else know, what are we doing to truly love and nurture ourselves? Life is fast. We go from being kids to adolescence to young adults into adulthood, and we almost go from being kids to raising kids. And I don't care if you are a teenage mom or a 35-year-old mom, either way, the cycle and that wheel of life, it moves. And so within that movement, sometimes we can get caught up in the movement, in keeping up with the pace, but we don't take time to pour into ourselves. And I feel like that's a big part of what self-love is, taking time to pour into your own cup. I recently heard and read, it was an interview with Ayana Van Zant, but it was something that she was sharing, and it truly resonated with me. And I even shared this with my mom recently. But what she said was basically that we are so used to pouring from our cup, but we don't realize that that cup is for us. Even once it gets filled, the filling of our cup is for us. It's our energy source. It's our fuel to life. That cup that we have within our heart, it's for us. And whatever overflows from that cup, that's what's for everybody else. That's what we're called to share to the world, or share to our spouse, and even share to our kids. I know a lot of moms that they feel like they're giving love to their children by neglecting themselves, but oftentimes we don't realize that we have to set an example to children to show them what boundaries, what self-love really looks like, even when it means that we're giving attention to ourselves as opposed to giving attention to them. And I'm talking about when your children are older. So of course, not an infant, not a toddler, but as children truly become children. This is the situation that I'm referring to. But anyway, self-love. Let's get it. Like, we're getting into the second half of the year, and I want everyone that watches this video to be inspired to love themselves more going into the last 6 months of this year, the second half of the year. I want you to make a commitment to love yourself so much more than you have. It has been so much going on within this year, within 2020. 2020 has been a whirlwind, and 2020 has also shown us that it's so you can be outwardly motivated when however whatever you want to do. But when we all had to go quarantine, we all had to look ourselves in the mirror. We had to look our households in the mirror. We had to look at our spouses, at our kids. We had to look at just us. And I think that's a big thing that quarantine, I'm hoping that people receive that lesson, but we need to make sure that we're taking time to pour within our own cup, because we never know when we need to really use what is in our cup for ourselves or for others. So anyway, a part of loving yourself is getting to know yourself. I know that we'll get to know a new boyfriend. We will get to know friends. We will get to know our boss, especially if a bag is involved, okay? And shouts out to people who are being strategic and getting to know the people that they need to know in order to strategically move forward in their career path or business ownership journey. However, we will spend so much time getting to know everybody else, and even our kids. We know their mannerisms. Our husbands, we know where his socks are. We know where honey, we can say, go to the left cabinet in the kitchen and look in there behind this, and that is where and what you need. But we still don't take that time within ourselves to really soul search and know ourselves, like the ins and the outs, the good and the bad. Yes, I come through for my friends. I'm a very reliable person, but also I'm gonna come when I get ready. So that means that most of the time I'm tardy. So yeah, I'll come, but I probably won't be on time. But you can bet your dollar that I will be there, and I'll be there to support you. Just things like having that balance. Sometimes we get so caught up in presenting the light. We want to present the light, the good that we have inside of us, to everyone else. But within presenting that good, sometimes we put a veil over our own eyes to the other areas that we need to grow in. Yes, there are areas that are going within our lives. And of course, we want to show our glows and the things that are going within our lives to our friends. We want to put our best foot forward when we're meeting people. And that is extremely important. So please understand that there's balance in everything that I'm saying. However, that same attention that we put towards everything else, sometimes we do not put that within ourselves. So knowing yourself, taking time to journal, whether it's first thing in the morning, first thing in the afternoon, meditating, praying, getting to know yourself, knowing your triggers and owning your triggers. Oftentimes what we don't want to do is we don't want to own our triggers. We don't want to say that these are the things that trigger me. But everybody else can see it. What makes you powerful is when you can own and know your story, the good, the bad, as well as the ugly, as opposed to always, even you're telling everyone the good, but then you've convinced yourself that you are good and you are perfect. And we all have room for improvement in one segment of our life or another. This goes all the way across the board. So let's make sure that we're taking time to truly get to know ourselves. And when you get to know yourself, a lot of people who practice yoga as well as spirituality, they will talk to you about shadow work. And shadow work is really just like when the sun is shining down on you, you feel the beams of the sun. It feels so good to you, but there's still your shadow, that dark silhouette of us. It's in our image and in our likeness, but it's the dark silhouette of us. And sometimes we have to do that shadow work. And a part of that shadow work is not always trying to fix everything. It's just trying to acknowledge and own what's there. And a part of that even goes into knowing your triggers, knowing your shadows, knowing what will make you pop off. And that also pours into helping you to develop a higher level of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, sometimes we're getting upset with people and becoming emotional for things that are really undealt issues, that reside within ourselves. But because we have not dealt with those issues, what we do is when things come up that we don't like, we begin to project those negative emotions that we have because we haven't dealt with something in our past. We begin to project those negative emotions on others. So anyway, knowing yourself, doing shadow work, making a list of, and not even saying, this is what's good about me, this is what's bad about me. Well, these are my goals. This is what I am amazing at. I can cook, I can do makeup, I'm effective, I'm great at digital software, whatever your thing is. I'm a great artist, whatever your thing is. But then also saying, you know what, because I am artsy, sometimes I'm a little bit more whimsical and aloof versus being truly present with my friends and my loved ones, things like that, like having balance to everything. But once you begin to do that shadow work, you will truly begin to grow from there because you're addressing areas in your life that you oftentimes your back. Sometimes you can see your shadow from your front, so don't get me wrong. But most of the times we have to look for our shadow because we're so busy. We're going about our day, especially like once you're not a kid anymore. You're going about your day. You're enjoying life. You're feeling the sun. But you forget about this shadow that's being cast. So we need to look at this shadow that is within us and figure out how can we grow? How can we also continue to glow? The next thing, even within shadow work, this is so big. Within shadow work, you begin to address your generational curses, honey. Okay? And that's the tea, as they say. But yes, like addressing generational curses, generational mindsets, generational perspectives, and there are multiple generational curses. Generational curses can come in the form of poverty. It can come in the form of broken relationships. It can come in the form of sexual abuse. It can also come in the form of racism. I truly, in person, and I've shared this on a video before, I truly believe that racism is a generational curse that people have to put intentionality around. Any generational curse, you have to put intentionality around it to uproot it and to change your mindset. It's something that it's come through your bloodstream. It's what your grandmother believes. So even if you're more forward thinking than they were 100 or 200 years ago, but still the people who have come together to create your DNA believe these things. And so generational curses, addressing them, acknowledging them. I mean, single parent homes, not having strong relationships with our fathers. Also, there's a generational curse of not loving yourself. You saw your mother, she was always busy, she was always tending to everybody. And I think there's a story in the Bible that kind of speaks to that. There was one sister, she wanted to cook, she wanted to clean, she wanted to prove to Jesus her value. And the other sister was like, I'm gonna love myself, I'm gonna chill out, and I'm just gonna enjoy the presence of this person. Just like how I am right now. I love myself, my home, whatever, if it's dirty or if it's clean, I still love myself and who I am right now to just sit and enjoy what Jesus is bringing to the table. But oftentimes what we do is when that moment comes, we're trying to fix this. We want to make sure we look perfect. We want to make sure we have the right filter. Even there are times when instead of us enjoying a moment, we're trying to make sure we're capturing a moment to post it. We have to look at our motivations and making sure that our motivations are coming within ourselves and not outwardly. And I will continue to touch on that. But again, I will even say this: generational curses, just dealing with things in your past, knowing that, hey, my dad, he lied a lot. And you know what? When I get in a crunch, instead of telling people the truth, I tend to lie. Even just acknowledging that. Before we try to change things, we have to acknowledge them. So there's so much power in acknowledging. And there are generational blessings as well. I know oftentimes we hear about generational curses. This is past the bloodline, but there are generational blessings as well. So we have to acknowledge those as well. But we do have to also give attention to things that we have been charged to correct, so that our legacy is impacted by the decisions that we made. All right, so let's get to the next one. Believing in yourself. And it's so funny today when I was getting everything ready, I noticed this that was on my bookshelf, and you can look and see that it says believe in yourself. Even surrounding yourself with beautiful things is important, but believing in ourselves, believing in our inner voice, believing in our intuition, our spirit. We know that we have a mind, we live in a body, and we have a spirit that resonates within us. Learning to believe and trust your spirit, learning to believe in yourself, learning to affirm yourself and say, you know what, I can do this. I can get my master's degree, or I can get my LPN certification. I can get my certification in digital coding. Whatever the case may be, I can be a good mother. I can be a faithful husband or a faithful spouse and boyfriend. Things of that nature. Oftentimes, and I've said this before, but I will continue to say it, we have to check that negative self-talk that goes on within us. I understand that we are our biggest critics. I understand that there is relevance in critiquing and being real with yourself, but I do also understand the other side of that, and that is when we're constantly judging ourselves and not truly providing space and a place for ourselves to grow. And a part of that comes with that negative self-talk, always doubting yourself. I don't know if I can do this. So-and-so tried. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I am this person. I just, excuse me. Well, I have, you know, excuse me, and I think I'm gonna still have to cough. But I'm not doing this video over because this information is super critical and it will be shared. So thank you all, and excuse me for that. But believing in ourselves, affirming ourselves. I've said this also before. We have to stop saying, I want to be a business owner. We have to start saying, I am a business owner. I can open a business. I am. I can. I have. Those three affirmations versus saying, I want, I will, and I hope. I can, I am, and I have. That is so powerful. If you will, then you're always trying to will something. I will. Well, you're still just trying to will it into manifestation. If you want, you're just wanting it. You're not even really affecting the manifestation process of it. If you hope, we know that faith is the substance of things hoped for, but you still have to have that faith. And the faith is the belief part of it. Not just, I hope I'll be in a better place at the end of the year. I hope I don't get corona. No, I will not. Plagues and sickness do not come near my home. They do not come near my body. They do not dwell here. I am worthy. I am sumptuous. I am beautiful. I am creative. I am articulate. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I am wise. I create the life that I want through the words that I say, through the way that I speak. And so those affirmations, looking yourself in the mirror, writing them down as well, even when we first wake up in the morning, building a routine around before we wake up and check our phone, before we wake up and start thinking about what we have to do, what bills we have to pay, where we have to drop our kids off, or what we need to do, what project we haven't finished. When we wake up in the morning, the first thing we need to be doing is, first of all, expressing gratitude, But even if it's not gratitude, like taking yourself to say, you know what, I woke up again today. I'm winning. Some people did not. And so for that, I'm grateful. My body was powerful enough to wake up and see another day. And today it is a clean slate. And whatever happened yesterday, I control the narrative of what happens today. Owning it, affirming it, believing it. So the next thing, now we can affirm, we can believe, but we also have to challenge ourselves. We have to challenge ourselves. We have to give ourselves educational goals, creative goals, family goals, financial goals, challenging ourselves. Saying, you know what, I am going to step out into an unfamiliar territory, but I'm going to step out and I'm going to truly believe that if I use my head, my heart, me believing in myself, my faith, that I will be able to accomplish several things. There is nothing that I cannot do. There is nothing, like everyone say that there is not one thing that I cannot do. I can do all things. All things are possible to me. All things work out for my highest being. I don't worry about what did not work in the past because I know that my future is bright. My future is so bright. My future is bright. My life is good. My life is sweet. And so, to even if I am challenging myself, regardless of what aspect that may be in, I can be successful in this challenge. And if I don't achieve success the first time, whatever I'm meant to learn, I will learn that and I will go for that again because it's something that I can still do. I don't have to do it the first time. I can do it in the right time. Okay. So anyway, challenging yourself. This also goes into challenging perspectives, outdated perspectives that are no longer serving you. Outdated social programming that is no longer serving you. We seriously, we have to challenge ourselves and say, you know what? Why do I always think I'm not going to have enough money? Why do I think that all men cheat? Why do I expect my boyfriend to cheat on me? So I keep looking at his phone. My husband, I keep looking at his phone because I know all men cheat. I know married men cheat. Okay, that's my little other voice. But I mean, we do that. We begin to expect the worst. And then when the worst happens, we're like, I told you. No, you manifested that because you believed it. You expected it. You didn't tell anybody anything. You caused that to happen in your life. So just think about that. Like let's really think about our perspective. But again, challenging old perspectives. And this even goes into anti-blackness. This also goes into whiteness. Feeling like the lighter and the brighter my skin is, the more worthy I am. That is an outdated perspective, and we need to put those things into check. We're all worthy, regardless of how much melanin or how little melanin we have in our skin. We are all worthy, okay? The world is our oyster. It's just for us to crack it open, get that little meat out, or put a little garlic seasoning on there and let it roast in the oven and enjoy it. But the world is all our oyster. It's all ours for the taking. It's not just the taking for one demographic or for one group of people or for people that look like this. So challenge yourself in all aspects, even physically. Losing weight, aspiring to have great health. And so when I'm talking about losing weight, I'm talking about being healthy. So I'm not shaming being overweight. I do want to be clear on that. But if your weight is unhealthy for your body size, that's what I'm referring to. And let's be clear as well, in terms of women, the aesthetic that is more desired of men of affluence and influence is particularly, it is what it is. You can look it up. I'll just say that. So anyway, trusting yourself, knowing yourself, learning to trust those gut feelings that we have. What we do is we feel a gut feeling, and I'm not talking about feelings that are based on false beliefs. So I'm not talking about you've been saying, everybody hates on me, everybody hates on me, everybody hates on me, and then when somebody actually hates on you, and you're like, I knew it. No, you spoke that into its existence. What I'm talking about is when things happen and they don't sit well with you. They don't sit well with your spirit. You find yourself thinking about them. You find yourself trying to, it's like, okay, that put a bad taste in my mouth. Learning to trust those feelings. And I don't care if this is family, friends, your community. And by community, I'm not referring to the people, your neighborhood. I'm referring to your community, the people that you laugh with, your Facebook friends, the people that you feel connected to. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind. We have to learn to trust ourselves. When we feel like we need to pull away from a certain friend, we probably need to pull away from a certain friend. It's not saying I'm not going to be friends with you at all. It's not saying I'm going to hold a grudge, but it's something in my spirit that's telling me to pull my energy within, and I'm going to listen to that. I hope as a friend you can respect the decision that I'm making right now for my highest good. Like, that's the part of loving yourself that we're trying to always, we want to be that down friend. We want to be that ride or die chick for that man. But that's not loving ourselves. We've gotten that notion within that says it's something not right in this milk. But because we're trying to prove ourselves and be outwardly motivated as opposed to trusting ourselves, we just want to keep just being a lamb led to the slaughter, and then because we still knew something wasn't right, we continue to affirm and think that something's not right, and then something not right happens and we're like, but I'm a good person. Well, you know what? A part of being a good person is listening to yourself, checking in with yourself, saying, what situation is serving me? Is this serving me? Or is this not serving me and the person that I'm aspiring to be and become? So let's just, do that check within ourselves. And when we feel it, it is okay to trust yourself and say, let me go within. And let me meditate about it. Let me pray about it. Let me journal about it. So I can put these things into perspective and figure out where I'm really falling within the scale of things. Also, I love this one. Be compassionate with yourself. We have to be so compassionate with ourselves. Do we not realize how often we are, again, being our biggest judge, being our biggest critic, but not on the other side, and in the other hand, being our biggest cheerleader? We want our parents to be our biggest cheerleader. We want our spouses to be our biggest cheerleader. We want our best friend. I'm her biggest cheerleader. She's my biggest cheerleader. Like, and that's cool. And there's a place for that. But guess what? We are our own home. The peace, the affirmation, the love, even the answers that we are oftentimes looking for, they are right there within ourselves. So we have to give ourselves room and space to acknowledge that and let those ideologies resonate and just come to the surface. But because we're always looking outside, we don't give ourselves enough time to allow things to surface within us. But yes, be compassionate. Stop thinking about the mistakes you made in college. Stop thinking about the mistakes you made in high school. Stop thinking about the mistakes you made in this church, and now you're at this church, but you keep thinking about what you did in the past. Let it go. We have all made mistakes. We have all no one is perfect, but we have all made mistakes. We all have things that we wish did not happen. From the most wealthy person to the person that lives in the lowest level of poverty. We all have things we regret. We all have things we see when we look in the mirror that we know we need to work on. So just keep that in mind. The next thing is, and it goes right hand in hand, like, be compassionate with yourself and also be patient with yourself. Give yourself room to grow. Give yourself room to lose weight. You know, you want to, I'm walking. I've been walking for 2 weeks. Now, depending on how much you weigh, what your body mass and all of that is, we know 2 weeks is not, even for me, 2 weeks is not a significant period of time for me to truly see sustainable change in my weight. So be patient with our goals, with our aspirations, with the person that we're becoming. Sometimes we're caught up in feeling the need. We know we're called to be greater, but we don't, instead of just becoming greater, we keep judging ourselves and saying, well, I should be great. I should be this. I should be that. I feel it in my spirit. Yes, you feel it in your spirit, but give yourself time, space, and a place to get there. Be patient with yourselves. And one thing I will say is this: if you're not compassionate with yourself, you're truly not compassionate with others. If you're not patient with yourself, you're truly not patient with others. And if you can be patient and compassionate with people outside of yourself and more than you are with yourself, there's a problem with that. And we need to put that in check, okay? Forgiving yourself, another good one. The compassion. Let's forgive ourselves. The time we should have sold this, the time we should have left so-and-so, but we kept holding on. The time we should have negotiated our salary. Now we're making this until we get a better job, but I'm still mad at myself. I should have done better. Be compassionate. Like, forgive yourself. So many things in our childhood we're holding on to that we need to let go. Adolescence that we need to let go. Even high school that we need to let go. Even sometimes in adulthood, we have to understand that decisions that we made sometimes were based on the knowledge that we had at that time. You can only make a decision based on the knowledge, the emotional intelligence, the intuition, the wisdom that you have at that time. Yes, sometimes I think I knew better, but you didn't have everything else in place to actually decide better. So again, like, seriously, let's be very compassionate, very forgiving with ourselves. Write down, like, take time to write down, I forgive myself for this. I forgive myself for not being faithful to a guy, and he was an awesome guy. If that's your story. I forgive myself for having an abortion. If that's your story. I forgive myself for putting off going to school until I was 40. If that's your story. Like, instead of constantly saying, I should have started when I was 23. I should have started. Well, you had other things going on at that time. Now's the time. Forgive yourself. Move on. Stop looking back, particularly in a way that is not edifying you and helping you to learn a lesson. What you're doing is you're looking back and you're using your past experiences to criticize yourself. To not only criticize yourself, but to kind of degrade yourself. So there's one thing in criticism. Positives can't come out of criticism, but no positives come out of degradation. So let's make sure that we forgive ourselves. And once we forgive ourselves, we're not constantly looking back in an effort that degrades ourselves at the same time. And lastly, just taking care of ourselves, like eating good food, drinking enough water, being physically active. And for everyone, that looks different. For some people, that's going to be yoga. For some people, that's going to be a walk. For some people, it's going to be, let me get in the gym, let me get these gains. Whatever the case may be, let's make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. We're feeding ourselves quality food, less processed food, particularly if we can help it. Let's make sure that we are, taking care of our inner child, allowing ourselves to laugh, to color, to play, to enjoy a sunset, to think about good moments in our lives and just, you know what, I've been thinking about this thing that happened to me when I was 7, and I was spending this time with my great aunt, and she taught me